So we alluded to a potential international target on a video yesterday where you and I discussed what is Michigan State's path forward after missing on Darius Adams. And I'd like to actually unveil who this kid is and discuss if you think it's a good fit and his game and all that. Now, his name is Noam Yaakov. I have no idea if I'm botching the name there, but he is from Israel, and he is an Israeli point guard that has played with Danny Wolf on Team Israel events. I believe like U18, U20 type events, international stuff. I believe he is in the Euro League. He's played 26 games in the Euro League. Now he hasn't played a ton of serious minutes or had great production in his time in the actual EuroLeague, but he's a very accomplished player elsewhere. Uh, these international kids have a lot of opportunities to play different levels, whether it's at the certain age cutoffs in events or whether it's with the actual highest level of their team. There's a lot of different various ways you can find box scores and game logs and numbers. But all in all, the tape on this kid is pretty good. He's a 6'1" point guard who is currently, I believe, playing with Hapoel Tel Aviv, and the passing pops off the eye test for me. So I'll throw it to you. When you heard this name as a potential Michigan State target, and we can elaborate more on that too if you'd like, what was your reaction?
I'm glad to see that we are trying to get somebody. And I'm honestly just the overseas approach in general was something that was kind of impressive. And obviously with a player like this, you immediately start trying to look up some film. The highlights are nice. I'll say that the highlights are nice. Now you get dived a little bit more deeply into the Euro League stuff and his FIBA youth competition where he was the numbers are there in the youth competition. Not the greatest shooter from 3-point range, but or not the greatest shooter in general, but a guy that is really crafty up the pick and roll, has some really flashy passes and all that. Um, and then you look at the Euro League stuff where he's playing. I think it says there are some former NBA players on that, so he's not getting that many minutes. But I don't know. The film to me it just looks like a guy who's like a 6'1" point guard that can has some really flashy passes, can really do some stuff, pick and roll stuff and get into the rim, but can't shoot.
Like, can't shoot at all? Is that your read?
Yeah. Well, no, I would say can't shoot from three.
The attempts are there. That's what makes me think like maybe we're just looking at small sample size bad days.
Fair.
But I don't know. So the numbers that I think you alluded to here, he had a really, really gaudy 5 game stretch at the FIBA U20 Eurobasket in 2024. So he had just great performances in these games. I'll just run through all 5 of them. He had 17 points and 12 assists and 3 rebounds against Turkey. He had 16 points, 8 assists, 3 rebounds against Greece. 18 points, 3 assists, 7 rebounds against Germany. 20 points, 7 assists, 7 rebounds against Italy. And I think in the final game, or maybe there's the first game, maybe I have the dates mixed up here 7 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds against the Czech Republic. So, I mean, that's obviously a great stretch. His averages there were absurd, and they're just better than any other averages you can find for him basically anywhere. Um, Now, that's because when he goes up and plays on like his EuroLeague team, he's just not in a role where he's playing like that. But clearly, almost like our college find your level stuff, when you put him like as the starting point guard featured guy on a team that is asking him for production, he's delivered it on the international stage against really good players in a big way. You watched the highlights. So I mentioned he played with Danny Wolf. I think for a couple years with the Team Israel national stuff. He's done these events with Danny, and there's a couple clips of him like throwing some really creative passes and playing off of Danny as the roll man, which is just kind of funny to think. He had one like literally a between the legs bounce pass
Yeah.
to Danny that was pretty special, and then Danny got his shit swatted and ruined the highlight. So I guess we got to flesh that out. But I don't know, like Does it worry you at all? Like, okay, he's had gaudy numbers at like an event like this, and then he goes elsewhere and just doesn't play, or do you just trust the gaudy numbers at the event? This video is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. We have a special offer for you. Promo code SLEEPERS. If you're a first-time depositor, they will give you a bonus up to $1,000 that matches 50% of your first deposit, plus a free pick. And tonight's free pick is focused on none other than Steph Curry. Card, I got a question for you. How many points does Steph Curry average?
Ooh, I'm gonna go ahead and say 29.
I don't have it in front of me, but that sounds about right. Certainly more than zero, I assume.
Of course.
Well, tonight's free pick, Steph Curry to score 1 point, higher than zero point 0.5 points. It's as much of a guarantee as you can possibly get. Underdog Fantasy, deposit as a first time user, put in promo code SLEEPERS. Make sure you get that deposit match bonus up to $1,000 and the Steph Curry free pick. Back to the video.
I think given given who we played in the event, I do like trust the gaudy numbers more. I just think sometimes it's really hard for kids like him, unless you're special to like play over pro EuroLeague guys, right? Like I feel like the guys you see do that are like special, like NBA draft level talents. I think it's hard to sometimes carve out a role if you're like a 6'1" point guard playing with a bunch of like actual, former NBA players or like professionals, you know?
Yeah. So in that, I keep going back to the U20 Eurobasket event. He led the entire event in assists per game, and he was eighth in the entire event in scoring per game. That's essentially a star. If there was a first team all Eurobasket event, he would be there. So,
Can I bring us around to what the actual conversation should be around this?
yep.
So before I say this, everyone knows where I stand with my team and my point guard. He's doing a lot of stuff that Jeremy Fears cannot do.
Oh, I strongly disagree with that. And I'm not even a fierce guy.
I see a lot of stuff in this film that pops off that I don't think I've seen Fears do,
Like what?
like hit a jumper.
I mean, the shooting numbers are not good here.
Yeah, but I'm
Like,
saying, but just like general, but I'm saying the willingness to take it.
yeah, I mean, he's taking them. He's taking them.
I don't know. There's just, I'm
I mean, this event that he was amazing in, he was 4 for 19 from three, 21%. He was 26 for 39 from the free throw line, 66%. That maps with other places that I've seen in larger sample sizes. He's not a great shooter from anywhere. So I wouldn't, if the difference in your mind is like this guy can make shots and fears can, I don't think that's the sell on Noam at all, really.
No, I don't even think it's making shots. I'm just saying like just pure not numbers watching here, not looking at that, which those are very real, right? I just watched the tape and I try to picture him. I'm like, could if Jeremy Fears was in that same spot, would he be doing this?
I think yes is my answer.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it would look different because I don't think Fears would even attempt threes, but I don't think a big part of Noam's game is making jumpers. I think like could Fears go to the U20 Eurobasket event and average 7.2 assists and lead the event in assists? Absolutely, in my mind. Now
What about the other stuff?
I think he could rebound at the same rate. I think it's just like Noam is probably a better scorer than Jeremy Fears, but surprise, surprise, that's not a high bar to clear for anybody. So,
So better scorer, same level rebounder, slightly less worse passer.
and I would assume a way worse defender and all the intangible
That's
stuff.
very true. That's very true.
Yeah,
Intangibles.
I don't like, we don't know. Like, it would be interesting. I think there's an argument you get these guys together. There's a world where this kid is like similar caliber to Fears, which is why it would be a really good ad. The more interesting part of this to me is like, okay, if Michigan State is really pursuing this, is the plan to play them together? I wouldn't like that. Wouldn't
No,
like that
especially
at all.
because then we're going back to we're playing a backcourt that's both 6 feet tall
And
and can't shoot.
really, really can't shoot.
Undersized, can't shoot, backcourts. Yuck.
Really, really can't shoot. So,
Yuck.
but I don't know. And maybe there's people not in the know on this that are watching this. So the backstory of why we believe this is a target for Michigan State is that it's been floating a little bit as a name. that the Michigan State staff has reached out to through various sources that we trust on the international scene. I'll let you guys do the math on that, but I feel like they're at least inquiring. Now, I'm not saying they're flying to Israel to sit courtside and prioritize this, but the Michigan State staff is asking on this kid. And presumably that ask would be, hey, we're looking for a backup point guard. Could this kid play that role? I know this is a buzzword that you and I hate and we always argue over, but I can't imagine that this kid would want to leave the EuroLeague to come play a backup role.
No.
So you almost, even if you don't believe it, you got to pitch whatever guy you're bringing in that he's starting and playing big minutes as to fears. And I don't know, for you
Which,
guys, that's not
which,
what you did with Adams. So
which should be the path? Like, there's a starting spot there.
do you think the Michigan State staff's interest here is strictly in a backup point guard role?
Yes.
So then this isn't a good fit from our perspective, right?
Yeah, I'd be shocked if they convince him to come be a backup point guard.
But if they do, it would be a great ad because
Yes.
he would be a really good backup point guard.
Yes, but that'd be crazy if they make that happen. But if they do that, yes, that would be a massive win.
Also, like, okay, I know that we need a backup point guard. Sure, you do. Yes. Uh-huh. Every team needs one. But like, how much better is Michigan State getting just by getting a good backup point guard? That's not tangibly moving the needle much for this team. Your team's going to be decided by the leap that Jeremy Fears makes anyway. And if Jeremy Fears makes the leap, then you're looking for a guy for 5 minutes a game here.
Yeah, it just doesn't really make sense to me that this is the target. Like I understand we got to get like I don't know. It's just I'd be very intrigued to see like what is on the whiteboard in the offices.
This kid's good and I like his game too. He's
I'm not saying that either. It's just like
the fit
I
with
don't know.
Fears
It's
is
just
weird.
it's just it's weird.
And I don't understand like you need like a star guard, a starting shooting guard, a scorer somewhere way more than you need a backup point guard. And I feel like all we're hearing from Michigan State is like we got to get that backup guard. Like no, you got to get a pair with Fears. And I don't feel like they're trying other than Adams, you know?
Is Kurt Hang that good?
I hope so. He might be. He really might
Maybe
be.
that's it. Maybe that's it.
It could be the answer. But based like don't you think based on the prioritization of Adams that kind of signals they don't think Kurtang's awesome?
Yeah, kind of.
I don't know. There's a lot of different ways you could read things, but do you think that Noam? What's the percent chances he could end up a Spartan?
I'd put it at like 20.
It's pretty high. I feel like.
Yeah.
All right, so you think it's a legitimate chance?
I wouldn't throw the legitimate word in front of
If
it.
if you do get an international player, I think this would be a good one. It would be clunky with Fears, but the staff could figure it out.
Hopefully.